Hey guys, so I'm trying to do this directly on YouTube so I don't have to download it and take a lot of time. But I did like the whole lesson and didn't realize that I hadn't pressed record, so I'm back, even though you didn't see the other one. But Morgan did, so anyway. Alright, so we're going to go to lesson number 2, flow of energy, right here. And it's got a food web, and it's pretty easy to follow. Alright, I'm not going to give you the answers because you already know these. Your primary producer, that's at the bottom of your food web. It's even at the bottom of this particular food web. What is it? Label it, name it. Level 1 consumer, that's who eats the primary producer, eats the grass. Oops, I just gave you the answer. Level 2 consumer, that's the one that eats the number 1 consumer. Then level 3 consumer eats the level 2 consumer, and level 4 eats the level 3. So this should take you 5 minutes to finish, get that done. All right, so lesson 2, flow of energy. I kind of already got this one going. I got the primary producer. What eats it? I had the birds eating the primary producer, and then I had the was it the fox or the wolf? The wolf eating the bird, and then the bear eating the wolf. Okay? So if you want to use different colors to complete it, to do each different one, they kind of all interact, then you're more than welcome to do that. So just do your best. Go start here. What eats this? What eats that? You know, go from there. Okay? All right. Then this one here, this one's going to be a lot of fun, I think, for y'all to do. You're going to cut out each of the shapes, or each of the animals, or each of the organisms, I'm sorry, because some of them aren't animals. You're going to cut those out, and you're going to create your own food web. So use what you've already done, or use what you already see as a guide. They're not going to be the same animals, but you'll get the idea, you know? If they're insects, they probably are going to be eating the primary producers, okay? If they're carnivorous, they're probably going to eat other animals, right? Okay. So if you need to, you know, this is the time that you could use your phone and look up. Let me see. Is a chicken an herbivore? Or is it an omnivore or a carnivore, if you don't know? I mean, those are things that you can look up to help you finish this, okay? All right, so we're going to go into our task cards, which is also kind of a cool little thing that you could do. When we're all done answering them, you can cut them out and glue them back to back. So like this, like cut it out right here, glue it back to back, and then you have little like index cards that you can study, okay? All right, so we're on the food chain web task cards 1 through 10. Number 1, a partial forest web is shown. Okay, and I'm going to start at the bottom. It's got grasses, grouse, elk, bear, marmot, berries, and bobcat. What role do bobcats play in the forest food web? A, bobcats break down dead plants and animals and return nutrients to the soil. B, bobcats are consumers of marmots and grouses. C, bobcats produce their own energy. D, bobcats are predators of grasses and berries. Okay, so if a bobcat breaks down dead plants, so you might want to put what your producers are. The producers make their own food. Consumers, they eat. And then the decomposers break down. And this is just here to help you, okay? And if you need to look it up, look it up. But you kind of should already kind of get the idea. Like, we know a bobcat is probably a carnivore, probably eats other animals. So he's not breaking down dead plants. He's not producing his own energy. He's not a plant. Okay? All right. Number 2, a wetlands food chain is shown below. Sun, duckweed, minnow, crayfish, raccoon. Which table shows the correct role of each organism? So this is where you need to know what the item is, whether it's a producer or a consumer, or if it's the source of energy. What is the source of energy? There's only one source of energy. Morgan, what's the source of energy for all organisms?
Sun.
The sun. Very good. Okay. So if it says source of energy and it's not the sun, it's probably not the right answer. Okay. So we're going to look at table A, the organism and the role, duckweed, source of energy, minnow, producer, crayfish, producer, raccoon, producer. Remember, your producers have to be something that gets their energy from the sun. They can make their own food. B, organism role, duckweed, consumer, minnow, consumer, crayfish, decomposer, raccoon, consumer. C, organism and role, duckweed, producer, minnow, consumer, crayfish, consumer, raccoon, decomposer. D, organism role, duckweed, producer, minnow, consumer, crayfish, consumer, raccoon, consumer. Okay, so think of duckweed. The word weed is in it, so that tells me it's probably something grassy. Okay. All right, number 3, a partial desert food web is shown. We've got shrubs, jackrabbit, coyote. We got on the other side seeds, kangaroo, rat, and coyote. Which type of organism is missing from this food web? Okay, so we have definitely producers and consumers. So what is missing? A decomposer, B, predator, C, consumer, or D, producer. Okay, number 4, a partial rainforest food web is shown. All right, we've got, let's see, flowers, fruits, and leaves, butterfly, spider, poison dart fly, spider monkey, jaguar, and carcara. Carcara? How many types of organisms in this food web obtain energy directly from producers? All right, so this one you need to, okay, so I'm going to help you just a little bit. I'm not going to do it all. All right, our producer is the flowers, the fruits, and the leaves, right? So that's producer. I underlined the word producer and I circled my producer. Who gets their energy directly? That means the arrow has to go directly from the producer to the organism. Right there. So that's one of them. You find the others and label it. Or I'm sorry, you find the others and tell me if there's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay? Number 5, a partial forest food web is shown. There's seeds, cones, caterpillars, skunk, owl, bobcat, turkey, hawk, and squirrel. What role do the turkeys play in the food web? All right, so we know that in the middle is our producer, and then our arrow goes to the turkey. So you need to tell me what that is. All right, is it A, a decomposer, B, predator, C, consumer, or D, producer? Number 6, a partial hedgerow food web is shown. Dead plants, earthworm, thrush, fox, wood mouse, seeds, sparrowhawk. Which table shows the correct role of organisms in the food web? A, organism role, sparrowhawk, consumer, seeds, producer, fox, decomposer. B, organism and role, seeds, producer, wood mouse, consumer, thrush, decomposer. C, organisms role, dead plants, decomposer, wood mouse, producer, thrush, consumer. D, organism role, earthworm, decomposer, seeds, producer, fox, consumer. All right, so you know, if you know which ones are your producers, you can get it from there. So my producer is going to be the seeds. Okay, if you go through and you label your little chart, you're going to be able to match up whichever one is correct. Okay, so if you find an answer choice that doesn't have seed as a producer, it's wrong. Okay. Number 7, a partial swamp food web is shown. All right, mango tree. I love to do this. I do this on all of them. I like to circle my producer because then I know that's kind of the heart of your web. That's where all of it begins, okay? You know, it gets its energy from its sun. It's producing food for other organisms. So for all of them, I love to do that because then I know that's my starting point. All right. So in this food web, energy is transferred directly between. So you just need to know. You have to look. Is mosquitoes going to mud skippers? Is kingfishers going to mangrove crabs? Prawns to mosquito larvae? Kingfishers to mangrove trees. So you just have to check and see. Number 8, a partial tundra food web is shown. We've got lichen, and I'm going to circle that and put the P on it. Based on the information in the food web, which of the following food chains shows one-way energy flows into the ecosystem? I got 3 that start with lichen, so that's pretty good, but it can also be the other one because they're just starting it like into the food web, not in the very beginning. Okay, number 9, a partial forest food web is shown. We've got grasses and berries. Both of those are producers. Okay, so we could go either way. Which statement correctly describes the transfer of energy in the food chain in this ecosystem? A, energy is transferred from berries to bears to elk. B, energy is transferred from grasses to marmots to bobcats. C, energy is transferred from bobcats to grouses to grasses. Or D, energy is transferred from grasses to elk to grouses. Okay, number 10, last one for this set. The table below lists some of the types of animals that live on an ecosystem and what they eat. Animal diets, animal type, and food sources. Raccoon, slugs, caterpillars, leaves, and berries. Vulture, dead, decaying animals. Slugs, leaves, owl, raccoons, and opossums. Wow, that's pretty big. Think about an owl and eating a raccoon. Caterpillars eat leaves. Based on the information on the table, which of the following food chains shows one-way energy flows in this ecosystem? I would draw it if I were you. I would draw what my producers are leaves. So I would have my leaf. I'm going to just draw a basic leaf here. All right, I'm going to label it leaf. I'm going to put a P on it like that. I'm going to draw what eats leaves. I'm going to draw a slug. And a slug is like Gary without a shell. So it's like Gary without a shell. And I'm going to label him slug. Okay, this can work for the other activity, the cut and paste. If you're not really wanting to cut and paste, you can just do this one and I think it'll count for you. All right, so that took care of the leaves and the slugs. Now I'm going to do a caterpillar on the other side. Okay, I'm going to label it. Okay. So I got my producers, I got my first consumers.
Like in every YouTube video, you say, if you want us to subscribe, go to link in the description.
I'm not sure we're going to have people subscribing. I think we're all ready for this coronavirus to be over. All right, so then I'm going to go to the second ones, and those are the ones that are going to eat the slugs and the caterpillars. So the raccoon is going to eat the slugs and the caterpillars. So he also eats the leaves, and he eats berries. So I'm going to draw some berries. And then I'm going to draw a raccoon. Kind of looks like a cat. He eats berries. He eats leaves. He eats caterpillars and slugs. Okay, do you see where I'm going with this? Make sure you pause if you need to so you can copy it. Alright, so we took care of the raccoon, we took care of the slugs, we took care of the caterpillar. Now we just have I'm going to leave the owl and the vulture up to you because those are going to be, and then you should be able to finish your question with that. Alright, number 11. A partial food web is shown. Okay, I'm going to start with that P for my producer, my plants and fruits. Which organism in this food web eats only producers? So the arrow's coming off that producer. Fruit bats and bandicoots only, insects and fruit bats only, rufous owls, bandicoots and pythons only, or insects only. Number 12, a partial rainforest food web is shown. Gonna circle again my producer, flowers, fruits, and leaves. Which organisms in this food web eat only consumers? So they're going to be like the top line ones. Spider monkey and butterfly only. Spider, poison dart frog, and butterfly only. Jaguar, caracara, spider, and poison dart frog only. Poison dart frog and jaguar only. Number 13, the diets of some forest animals are described in the table below. This is another one you're going to want to draw it, okay? This is another one. Hey, you're out all day. What else are you going to do? You know, you might as well enjoy drawing. Some of you love to draw, so this is your time. This is your time to shine. So start with your berries and your grasses and leaves. And that's going to be your producers. Okay, I circled all the producers. I'm going to draw those first. And then I'm going to draw an arrow to the things that eat that. Okay? That way I can answer that question. I'm probably going to need another piece of paper. There's not a lot of room on the bottom. Number 14. The table describes the energy sources for 4 unidentified organisms. Which statement correctly identifies the roles of the organism? Well, I know if I look at the organisms, I've got mice, earthworm, and grasses, decaying plants, flower, nectar, and sun. Sun is my energy source, right? So I'm going to label that energy source because I already know that. I know that things that eat decaying are decomposers. I know flower nectar is going to be, it makes its own food. It's a producer. And then the mice, the earthworm, and the grasses, that might be different. I might have to look that one. Okay. So then I can look at my answer choices. Organisms 1 and 3 are consumers. Well, 3 isn't 1, so it can't be. B, organisms 3 and 4 are producers. C, organisms 1 and 2 are decomposers. Or D, organisms 2 and 3 are producers. Okay. So you can answer those questions. Number 15 is going to be the same thing. So I would label what they are. Grasses and seeds, you should know what that is. The sun, dead trees, mice, voles, and rabbits. And then you're going to find the correct table that matches. Number 16, you've got another partial food web. I've got cones, seeds, and leaves as my producers in the middle. When I do that, it really helps me answer that question. Just that little hint right there. Which organism in this food web eat only consumers? Squirrels, turkeys, and caterpillars only. B, squirrels, turkeys, caterpillars, and skunks only. C, hawks, bobcats, and owls only. Or D, bobcats only. Number 17, the diets of some forest animals are described in the table below. Oh, it's going to be another one that I want to draw a picture. I love it. So I'm going to start with my berries, my grasses and leaves. Okay, I'm going to do it on the back just so you can see. I've got my berries, my grasses, my leaves, Okay, those are my producers, so I draw those first. And then I can cross them off on here. Then my caterpillar eats my leaves, so I'm going to go draw an arrow to the caterpillar. I think you'll enjoy this activity. See how I drew the caterpillar eating the leaf? So do that for the rest of the chart, and that'll help you answer how many animals get their energy directly from at least one producer. Okay, number 18, a partial food web of organisms who live in and around the Amazon River is shown. My producers again are the water plants, so I'm going to circle it and put P on it for producer. What change would most likely occur if all the producers in this ecosystem were removed? So think about what eats the producers, what eats the consumers that eat the producers. A, the populations of consumers would increase. B, the producers would move to a new location. C, the populations of consumers would decrease. D, pacas would become producers. Number 19, a partial food web of organisms who live in and around the Amazon River. Again, it's the same one we just had, but I'm going to label it anyway. My water plants are P, the producers. Which statement describes the transfer of energy in a food chain in this ecosystem? So all you need to do is you need to follow. Does the anaconda go to the pacas, to the water plants? We already know the water plants are our source, our producers. So we probably want to start with those as our initial answer choice. And our last card is the cacti and the seeds being our producers, a partial desert food web. Which organisms do not directly consume another organism for energy? There can only be one or two of them in our food web because everybody else has to eat something, right? What things don't eat something? Which organisms? Oh, that's A, ravens and quails. B, cacti and seeds. C, kangaroo rats and crickets. Or D, Gila monsters and desert tortoises. All right, remember, when you're done with this, you can cut these out, glue them back to back, dot, dot, not a lot. And then you can use them for little study sheets, okay? And draw those pictures. I want to see them. Post them on the Gillette website so we can see all the wonderful work that y'all are doing. All right. Thanks. That's it for Science Week 1.